Welcome back to another episode of EventHubs Talk a Block. I am John Catalyst Gray, and joining me is John Velociraptor Guerrero.
It is 4:08 a.m. right now, but we have important things going on. Akuma's official trailer has dropped for Street Fighter 6. We've watched it 1,000 times each, and we have some breakdowns, some reactions, some maybe you missed it stuff. So I think we should jump into... Oh, there's one thing we should say before we jump into it. John, what did you have to say?
This is the Akuma update is going to be a major balance patch where all characters will receive changes. That's coming on May 22nd, so everyone has got something major coming in.
Yeah. Akuma's coming out, Luke's getting buffs. It's going to be an interesting new season of Street Fighter 6, and it comes out on May 22nd, if I'm not mistaken, is when Akuma drops.
Yes.
May 22nd. All right. Okay, so we have this whole trailer. He looks absolutely awesome. He's got his stage from, was it Alpha 2? He looks beefier than I think we've ever seen him before. I remember Akuma from Street Fighter 4 is this little string bean next to this guy. This is the biggest, buffest Mr. Universe Akuma, and he looks sick. What were your first reactions to him?
Yeah, he looks very evil this time around. He's definitely closer to transforming into Oni. And one of the things that pops up here right away is that Enma is the name of his stage music, and that is actually the god of hell in Buddhism. So anyone who's thinking that Akuma is like, maybe a little more lighthearted or something like that, no. This is the most evil version of Akuma we have ever seen. This guy has got juggles for days. He's got moves for days. He's got a new move. Oh my gosh, there's so much here to unravel.
A couple new moves. I've noticed a couple, and I might have missed some. I mean, 1,000 is not enough times to watch this trailer. But yeah, he's got some new stuff. He's got a bunch of returning stuff. But something I saw, and we'll definitely dig into this, is that as Akuma evolves over the years, they tend to bring back, they add new moves in every game, and they tend to bring them back. They've done that here. There's a lot of Street Fighter 5 remnants, but you can already see some of the alterations that have gone on to maybe balance those things. In fact, I'll just jump into it right here. Remember Back Fierce from Street Fighter 5, and then he would use that as an anti-air, and then he'd go into Demon Flip, and it would be a full combo, and I think he could side switch, and he could do whatever, and he could change his oil in his car, everything. Well, that move is back, and it's an anti-air, but from what I saw in the trailer, it doesn't juggle, it just knocks back, a la a kind of a standard Crouching Fierce or something along those lines, or Back Fierce. But then he has that same vertical kick from Street Fighter 5, and I think in that game you had to go into his V skill first or something along those lines, right? So it was like a chamber and then kick. That kick is very prominent in this, and I think that one leads into that kind of juggle combo as an anti-air. But the thing is, it looks a little bit slower. He's gonna have to do it a little bit earlier, and we're seeing things like that throughout. So yes, I still think he'll be an Akuma tier kind of character, but you can see where they've taken old things and tried to balance them either for Street Fighter 6 or just in general. Because man, getting Back Fierced into everything, into positioning, was so disheartening in Street Fighter 5, unless of course you were Akuma. But so you see little things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the angles and ranges on Akuma's normals look like they're going to be extremely good. Like he is just designed to make people whiff and to stand at ranges that are going to destroy people. Also, his corner carry looks like it's going to be top tier. Had plenty of flashes of Ken going on here watching this trailer. And I mean, again, just to reiterate on the corner here, the corner is the spot you do not want to be at in Street Fighter 6. The worst spot to be at in the entire game. And Akuma looks like he's going to be extremely adept at pushing his opponents there.
So I have a note on corner carry. I thought he looked good, maybe not as good as the likes of Ken or maybe even Luke, but
looks better to me.
Well, okay, so why did you think it looked better? Because he's got his Tatsus, right? And we see all three Tatsus. One of them is his traditional light Tatsu, and then he gets to do something afterwards. In fact, he can sweep afterwards, a la, I think, Street Fighter 4, we saw a lot of that. That was a huge part of his gameplay. Anyways, he's got that, but then when he does the heavy Tatsu, it's like that staircase upward hit that we saw from Street Fighter 5. If he does the medium one, it carries horizontally, and I think that's what you're talking about here, but it only hits twice. Like Ken's is like bam, 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 all the way towards the corner. This one only hits 1, 2, maybe 3 times.
So he has a new move where he sways back and then he lunges forward with 2 punches. And then the OD version does a wall splat. That looks like it has an extremely good corner carry and a lot of high utility, reminding me a little bit of DJ's sway. We already know that again, moves in like 5 and 6, Street Fighter 5 and 6, that move you back a decent distance out of the opponent's ranges so you can whiff punish and do, major damage, tend to be very strong in these games. And with those 2 things coupled together as Tatsu in that new move, I think his corner carry is going to be extremely good.
So that was interesting. So yeah, that's one of his new moves that I noticed, and I'm calling it the kidney punch because it reminds me of Luke's little sway where he goes back and then he hits you, and oh my gosh, you guys, you know how maddening that can be with Luke, especially if he puts you into certain distances and at certain advantages, and then, oh, it's your turn, just kidding, sway back, punch you in the kidney. Akuma basically has that, and yeah, it can go on, and I think the OD version hits a 3rd time, and we see it wall bounce. Now, he does it close to the corner when he does that one. He does like a regular version of it mid-screen. I don't know if it'll wall splat every time. I don't know how far it's going to knock back, but so there's some questions there, but yeah, if that launches you and it's a wall splat, I can't... They wouldn't give him that, would they? That's basically like a drive impact kind of a thing on hit. I don't know.
Never say that with Akuma. Never say they wouldn't give. Yeah, they definitely give it to him, and they probably give him more stuff than we're seeing.
There's one other corner carry aspect to him. I know that you were the one that's saying he has better corner carry, and I was saying, oh, maybe like mid corner carry. But we do see him launch into a combo where he drive rush cancels into demon flip, and that has some horizontal movement as well. And I think he's had that for a while, a couple games now, but that's another means of doing it. I didn't see a side switch, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have them. But we saw Capcom dial back on the side switch in SF5 because it was so easy to do and so effective that they made him choose between, I think it was damage and side switch or Oki and side switch. But so there's that. Yeah, but maybe we should talk a little bit about the new moves because you mentioned the kidney punch. Did you see the other one?
I did see that he has an air fireball now, like a super, can be used in the air, which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
I'm calling it Demon Light because he does a Tatsu. I'm sorry, he does a teleport. It's 4 a.m., guys. He does a teleport at one point, and he gets Ryu's DP to whiff, and then he teleports back at him, and it's basically the animation of Demon, where he grabs him and he goes into this 4 or 5 hit cinematic combo, and the last one he instant transmissions to the other side of Ryu and kicks him down. That looks a lot like what we saw for Demon in Street Fighter 5 as far as the instant transmission things, but that might be a command grab. It might be just a special move that he can do. It might be something that he can only do out of a teleport already. I don't know, but that was fresh to me. I'm calling it Demon Light.
Yeah. I personally, like, when I was seeing his Tatsu sweep combos come back, I'm starting to fear like what his Okazemi is going to be. It like we were mentioning before, it's you were talking about, like, could he do side switch or corner or whatever, and like, why not both, basically, is the thing with Akuma. That is what I think is actually written on Capcom's whiteboard when they're designing Akuma, is why not everything. Just give this guy everything. Yeah. And the other thing he might actually have is not as reduced health as we've seen in prior games, because in his transition to Oni, he actually becomes more powerful. He has more stamina. That's something the developers of Street Fighter 4 outright said that they give the character. So this is going to be a great character, I think, right out of the gate. So
this idea that I was getting at earlier, that Akuma tends to be really good, and they give him new moves every time, and you can see them learning lessons from previous games, so they sort of balance out the returning moves in certain ways. They still usually end up pretty OP, but maybe not as OP, right? You remember the Demon Flip and how effective that was for Vortex and Oki in Street Fighter 4? They were careful to try to nerf that in certain ways so that it didn't have like the instant recovery palm. Now, it worked in other ways in Street Fighter 5, but
it worked as a reversal. It worked as it was like the Swiss Army knife of moves. Like, so yes, they nerfed some aspects of it, but in 5 it was even worse. It was like in terms of balance perspective, because it did everything, and they had to nerf it multiple times. So I don't know about that one.
Right. So they try to attend to things, but like I was saying, that back fierce punch looks like it's not quite as it doesn't have quite as much utility this time around. things like that. But then they also bring in new moves, and those new moves are always super busted, right? So you got Kidney Punch and Demon Light. But so you talked about Light Tatsu, and he can go into the sweep, and that was a huge thing in Street Fighter 4. It didn't even work on every character, but where it did work, that meant he could put you in the blender, and we are all still having nightmares about how effective that was. Yes, he can do that in this game, but I noticed that it looks like Ryu gets knocked back a little bit when he gets swept, and that he doesn't go straight down. And as we know, that can be very significant for an Oki setup afterwards. I do think Akuma will still get Oki off of this, and it can be a decision that Akuma players make when he hits the Tatsu. Is he going to go for damage, or is he going to go for Oki setup? Pressure on wake up, I should say, for those of you that don't know what Oki means. But it might be that he's knocked a little bit farther back, so that Akuma either has to spend some bar to get closer, or just doesn't have as many options as if he were to fall right in front of him like he did in Street Fighter, or like characters did in Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, you're a little more optimistic than I am in terms of Capcom's actually going to balance that. To me, I just kind of expect like a spider to jump out and cast some webbing and stuff on you when he knocks you to the ground. It's like Capcom can't balance this guy. They're not going to. He's the antithesis of balance. So like, one of the other things I saw with him is his drive rush into overhead that can combo afterwards. So everyone who was wondering if Akuma can do that, he can. You mentioned his standing heavy kick anti-air button. It looks like crouching heavy punch is his other one, or maybe back heavy punch. He's got 2 anti-air buttons on top of his DP. Yeah. So I mean, this guy, you're not probably going to be able to jump at him at any point in time. His normals mostly seem to have a lot of range, and then he has plenty of multi-hitting juggle combos. So it's just, poof, this guy has got the kitchen sink in terms of options. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a lot of target combos too. So it looks like Akuma's, among the many ways he can probably play, he's going to do a lot of neutral, and he's traditionally had very quick walk speed. And that's really important when you play into the footsie game. That goes so... Walk speed doesn't get enough appreciation, but it is what it is. And Akuma usually has really fast walk speed. So you pair all that with these fairly far-reaching normals. The first thing I think we see in the trailer as far as actual gameplay is he does like this Spartan kick, and I think it's a standing medium kick, but it looks like it goes really far and it comes out really fast, just flicks right out there. I wonder if that's cancelable. I know what you're going to say. Of course it is, because it's Akuma. But I don't think we saw a crouching medium kick the whole time. Like, I don't think we saw a low engage. That doesn't mean he doesn't have one, but they didn't highlight that in the trailer, if I'm correct here. And so, but he does have a lot of engage from a distance, so maybe he's not really able to convert from lows. I'm sure he will, but he's got these forward reaching punches where he steps forward, and if they hit, he can target combo is what it looks like. He's got the sway kidney punch thing going on, and he can approach you 6,000 different ways from the air. So yeah, he's got so much here already. I'm excited though. I think everyone and their mother is gonna play Akuma. I think he's gonna be in top 8s. I think he's gonna be across ranked, across casual. Street Fighter 6 is getting a makeover right now, and it's looking a little more demonic for sure.
Oh yeah, a lot more. And in the trailer it says "sent to heaven to embrace the sorrow and become the demon."
Is that what he said? I couldn't hear that. I even put the closed caption on, but I trust you.
Yeah, it's close to that. And then in the official description from Capcom, it says, "Will you harness the power of the Satsui no Hado or succumb to the inner demon?" So once again, very heavily talking about his power changeover at this moment in time. What we originally speculated on in terms of, just where Akuma's going and what the plot is developing has definitely been dead on. And then last thing that they've got is beware the effects of the Satsui no Hado lest you become tormented by its hunger. So again, they're very, very, very heavily hyping up how much Akuma has been, embracing this and how much more powerful he is by doing so, and how that's reflected in his gameplay from everything we're seeing.
He's gotten so far into the Satsui no Hado that now his OD Tatsu ground bounces and you can follow up afterwards. So one more thing. But yeah, his Tatsu's now is the traditional light one-hit one, the multi-hitting medium kick one, the heavy one goes up, and the OD one goes up and comes down and allows for a continued combo. He's going to be exciting to explore the kinds of combos, especially when you consider drive rush cancel, which we saw a little bit of. And I want to ask your opinion. Did you think drive rush cancel, outside of just being a combo extender, which is the main way we saw it here, it'll definitely add to his combos, but drive rush from neutral, do you think he's going to be a huge threat there? Not that he needs to be, but
Yeah, extremely. It's those normals, those reach on those normals, his crouching medium kick, all those other ones that are going to be able to cancel out of that, probably going to be able to cancel B plus on a number of those. Yeah, it's
when we
should
saw
be terrified.
I felt like Drive Rush, it didn't look slow. It looked maybe average, and it's still hard to tell. It's very early on, but I thought maybe an average Drive Rush, and that might be a place when you already know Akuma's going to have so much that might be a place where you go, okay, this is good in this game. Let's not give him this. But I don't know if Capcom's ever said, let's not give him anything. So, there's that. Speaking of, he's got more supers than everybody else.
Yeah.
I think his level 1 is the fireball, and he can do that on the ground, but like you said, he can also do that from the air. And then his level 2, I think this is relatively new. He does his level 2 towards the end in a juggle, and it just seems to be a few strikes, but here's the thing, it wall bounces and he can continue the combo after level 2. So when we're talking about combos here, his level 2 seems to just be something more of a combo extender. I think that's where you're going to see the utility in it. And then he's got maybe the most badass level 3. I think JP's is up there, but this one might take the cake, where he just punches your face into the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, and Demon. And we get to see Demon after the credits. And this is, I don't know, maybe it's the coolest version. And maybe the more you show of Demon, the less cool it is. But this is pretty cool. 1,000 Akumas join Akuma. They speak in unison as they come down and murder your face.
Or murder you to sleep is what we're used to, yes.
Right, because this is rated T for teen.
Well, also that Akuma can't actually kill anyone. He just puts them in those soul jars or whatever on the back of the stage.
That's true. We did a whole video. Hey, nice plug option. We did a whole video on all the times that Raging Demon didn't work canonically. I think it's only killed like 1 or 2 people, 1.5 maybe. I think that's the extent of my notes right now. Did you have anything more?
That's everything. I'm very excited for this character, and mostly for the balance updates. This game badly needs it at this moment in time to breathe some new life into it, some new characters, some better variety, at least until Akuma drops. It's the only Shoto people can play. Well, we'll see how that works. So.
All right. Well, let us know if you guys are excited for Akuma, if you think he looks like butt cheeks, whatever you want in the comments below. We are going on this journey into Akuma Fighter 6 together, and I'm excited.